Good morning. My name is Rachel Maxwell, and I am the worship associate this morning here at the Edmonds Unitarian Universalist congregation. I am so glad that you have joined us here today. In the hall and on your screens. Hi, Mom. We are very happy to welcome the Reverend Nancy Reid-McKee back to our pulpit this morning. Nancy is a beloved and frequent guest minister here. Having served in parish ministry for many years, Reverend Nancy now works as a justice minister, primarily with Justice Washington, our UU State Action Network. During the course of the service, we'll also be joined by EUUC member Rob Wascom, whose name you may have heard recently in announcements and in the service because he is serving as a member of our Settled Ministers Search Team. So, welcome to the Edmonds Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are a pluralistic faith community of seekers, humanists, theists, atheists, agnostics, and everything in between. We are committed to treating each other with compassion and respect, learning from one another, and sharing our resources to help build a more just world. We gather weekly to connect, to wrestle with life's big questions, and rededicate ourselves to living into our Unitarian Universalist values of justice, equity, generosity, pluralism, transformation, interdependence, and love. Whether this is your first Sunday with us, or you've been here more Sundays than you could ever count, like I have, we are so grateful that you've chosen to be here this morning with us. Welcome. If this is your first time on site this morning and you haven't yet had a chance to visit the welcome desk in the narthex near the front doors out there, we invite you to do so after the service. Our delightful welcome folk will be glad to answer your questions about our congregation. If you're joining us online, please go to our website at euuc.org, click on the tab that says I'm new, and then click on What Are You Interested In to learn more about opportunities to get involved in our congregation. And as we begin our services, please silence your phones and let us all remember that we welcome all children for all parts of our worship service and that the noises they make are sacred and holy. We have only one quick announcement this morning. We need volunteers to help with the rummage sale set up from August 9th to 13th, as well as during the actual sale on Friday the 14th and Friday the 15th, which whether or not you volunteer, you should come to. Please sign up at the table after the service. You will also be getting an email that'll have online signups. We hope you're saving your treasures to donate to the rummage sale. Drop-off will begin after the service on the 9th and continues through Wednesday at 4 p.m. that week. So now we will open our service with our land acknowledgement. Let us remember that our congregational home, this site on which we are gathered this morning, is placed on the ancestral lands of the Snohomish people, who have inhabited this region of the Salish Sea since time immemorial, and who continue their livelihoods on these lands today. May we all live and learn humbly as allies to the Snohomish.
Good morning. It is so nice to be back here, one of my favorite places. I don't always say that. Our call to worship this morning is a poem from Marnie Harmony. It's called If We Do Not Venture Out. So I invite you into this space with these words. If on a starlit night with the moon brightly shimmering, we stay inside and do not venture out, the evening universe remains a part of life we shall not know. If on a cloudy day, with grayness infusing all and rain dancing rivers in the grass, we stay inside and do not venture out, the stormy, threatening energy of the universe remains a part of life we shall not know. If on a frosty morning, dreading the chill air before the sunrise, we stay inside and do not venture out, the awesome, cold, quiet, and stillness of the dawn universe remains a part of life we shall not know. If throughout these grace-given days of ours, surrounded as we are by green life and brown death, hot pink joy and cold gray pain and miracles, always miracles. If we stay inside ourselves and do not venture out, then the fullness of the universe shall be unknown to us, and our locked hearts shall never feel the rush of worship.
Each week, we commit and complete a sign and a signal of our faith tradition, Unitarian Universalism, by placing a flame in the bowl of this chalice. Week after week, month after month, year after year, we light this chalice to symbolize the warmth of this community and the flame of our hope, which still burns brightly, even in the midst of challenging and uncertain times. We light our chalice with these words: "Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. It is the flame of the human spirit touched into being by the mystery of life. It is the fire of reason, the fire of compassion, the fire of community, the fire of justice, the fire of faith. It is the fire of love burning deep in the human heart, the divine glow in every life." So now let us say our affirmation. You can say it out loud, read along, listen to the group reading, or otherwise participate as you wish. We need each other, and so we come to this place to work and dance and laugh and cry and think. We call ourselves a religious community, not because this place is in itself holy ground, but because what we do here and say here and are here make it so. So let it be. We invite you to rise in body or spirit as you are comfortable to join in singing our opening hymn, number 95, in the gray hymnal, There Is More Love Somewhere. The words will also be projected on the screen.
For our Time for All Ages, I'm going to invite our children and youth to join me up on our rainbow rug for a special story. This is a poem. If you haven't caught the theme of the day, it's poems. And this is called The Owl and the Pussycat. All right. I'm going to show some pictures. The reason I like this story is, number one, my parents used to read this to me before I went to bed at night. And then years later, this book came out, and I think the pictures are beautiful. So I'm going to read this to you now. You ready? All right. The owl and the pussycat went to sea on a beautiful pea-green boat. Do you see the pictures up there? I can't see them, so you have to tell me when they change the picture. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a 5-pound note. The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely pussy, oh, pussy, my love, what a beautiful pussy you are, what a beautiful pussy you are. Doesn't she look beautiful? Do you like her hat? Pussy said to the owl, you elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Oh, let us be married. Too long we have tarried, but what will you do for a ring? They sailed away for a year and a day. I'm going to pause here. What do you see in that picture up there? Can you tell me all the things you see? You see a fish. That's right. What else can you see in that picture? There's a turtle up there. And that's a seahorse. That's right. Good for you. All right. And there they are sailing away for a year and a day to the land where the bong tree grows. That turtle's following them, isn't he? And there in a wood, a piggy-wig stood with a ring at the end of his nose, with a ring at the end of his nose. Isn't that a great pig? Yep, you're right. You got it. "Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring?" said the piggy. "I will." So they took it away and were married the next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. Because we know it's mainly turkeys who live on hills. That was a political statement if you didn't catch that. They dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon. And hand in hand by the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the moon, the moon, the moon. They danced by the light of the moon. And that's the end of the story. And here's the real question that you need to find out after today. You ready? You need to go home and ask your parents what a runcible spoon is. All right. Can you say the word runcible? Runcible. Good. Okay. So you know what to ask. All right. Thank you for joining me this morning.
And now we'll sing the children out to their activities. This morning, the youngest members of our community will be gathering right outside of this hall in the narthex. When you have a moment, please be sure to express your gratitude to the adult and young adult members and leaders who are making this morning's adventures possible.
Let's take a moment to be in a time of quiet together. You to find a comfortable position, whatever that feels like for your body this morning. Maybe relax your neck and your head, soften your gaze or close your eyes. Notice your breath, the rise and fall of your chest as your lungs fill with air and release it again. Our breath is an everyday miracle, a wondrous force that sustains and nourishes us, that makes our living and the living of so many other beings possible. As you feel your lungs expand, I invite you to offer a silent expression of gratitude for this, your breath of life, and to feel the collective power of all of us breathing as one. Quietly continue to breathe as you hear this poem from Mary Oliver to companion you. Today I'm flying low, and I'm not saying a word. I'm letting all the voodoos of ambition sleep. The world goes on as it must. The bees in the garden rumbling a little, the fish sleeping, the gnats getting eaten, and so forth. But I'm taking the day off. Quiet as a feather. I hardly move, though really I'm traveling a terrific distance. Stillness. One of the doors into the temple. May solace come upon you, power rise within you, and peace settle in your heart. May it be so.
These words are from David White, whose career for most of his adult life was as a marine biologist and naturalist before he became a poet. He said, quote, "I went back into poetry because I felt like scientific language wasn't precise enough to describe the experiences that I had. Science, rightly, is always trying to remove the I, but I was really interested in the way the I deepened the more you paid attention. I began to realize that because I was in deeply attentive states, hour after hour, watching animals and birds and landscapes, my identity depended not upon any beliefs I had, inherited beliefs or manufactured beliefs, but my identity actually depended on how much attention I was paying to things that were other than myself. As you deepen this intentionality and this attention, you started to broaden and deepen your own sense of presence. And what actually occurs is this meeting, this frontier. But it's astonishing how much time human beings spend away from that frontier, abstracting themselves out of their bodies, out of their direct experience, and out of a deeper, broader, and wider possible future that's waiting for them if they hold the conversation at that frontier level. Here is his poem, The Lightest Touch. Good poetry begins with the lightest touch, a breeze arriving from nowhere, a whispered, healing arrival, a word in your ear, a settling into things, and then, like a hand in the dark, it arrests your whole body, stealing you for revelation. In the silence that follows a great line, you can feel Lazarus deep inside. Even the laziest, most deathly afraid part of you lift up his hands and walk toward the light.
Much of our lives are spent telling stories to each other. When we come into social spaces like this congregation, we can expect that at least 65% of our conversations with others will be on social topics, talking about ourselves, listening to others talk about events in their lives. And in the past few years, I've become more and more enamored with how we tell our stories to each other. Not what the stories are necessarily, but how we tell our stories. And recently, my focus has become more on poetry. I'm not sure if you're like me, but I've had a mixed history with poetry. Mostly, I have to confess, I've been dismissive of poems. And part of this stems from my high school advanced placement English class, where we seemed to spend hours dissecting a poet until we killed it. We analyzed the words and the sequences and the rhythms and the symbolisms until I felt like any magic or the soul of it was actually lost. And another part of my experience with taking poetry seriously involves my father, as all things seem to do. We always like to blame our parents for everything, right? My father enjoyed absurd poetry, and he would pay me to memorize the most nonsensical poems he could find. And they were usually involved Lewis Carroll, who wrote Alice in Wonderland. One of them that he loved was the Mad Gardener's song. I don't know if any of you know this one. He goes, he thought he saw an elephant descending from the bus. He looked again and, no, that's the next line. He thought he saw an elephant that practiced on a fife. He looked again and saw it was a letter from his wife. At length I realized, he said, the bitterness of life. Thanks, Dad. He particularly liked Father William. I don't know, this is another Lewis Carroll one. You are old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white. And yet you insistently stand on your head. Do you think at your age it is right? In my youth, Father William replied to his son, I feared it might injure the brain. But now that I'm perfectly sure I have none, why, I do it again and again. But more recently, I've come to resonate with poems in a way that I never expected. And this started with hearing my first Rumi poem that spoke about something inside myself that startled me. The way the words were put together and the openness of the few lines just caught my spirit and my attention. It inspired me to spend 2 years reading the collected works of the poems of Rumi. And since then, I've tried to read a poem each day as part of my meditation practice. So my questioning has been about why a poem can catch us in a way that other forms of writing may not. Journalism, papers, and articles all try to capture something unknown, and they help us understand or comprehend life in a new way. And I think poetry does this too, but the understanding is less about the head and more about our heart. We recognize that we are complex beings, and poems somehow make our lives more clear and more real. They rupture something inside ourselves, asking us to explore ourselves in new ways. When poets are interviewed, asking them why they write, they talk about the poem as an art form that addresses understanding life in new ways. So I'm going to describe 5 broad and overlapping descriptions of what poetry attempts to do, and then we're going to read a poem or two so we can begin to sense some of the mystery of this art. The poet Jane Hirschfield says, one reason to write a poem is to flush from the deep thickets of the self some thought, feeling, comprehension that we didn't know was in us. A poem releases something unknown, unexpected. Let's listen to these 2 poems.
Last Night as I Was Sleeping by Anthony Machado. Last night as I was sleeping, I dreamt, marvelous error, that a spring was breaking out in my heart. I said, along which secret aqueduct, O water, are you coming to me? Water of a new life that I have never drunk? Last night as I was sleeping, I dreamt, marvelous error, that I had a beehive here inside my heart, and the golden bees were making white combs and sweet honey from my old failures. Last night as I was sleeping, I dreamt, marvelous error, that a fiery sun was giving light within my heart. It was fiery because I felt warmth as from a hearth, and sun because it gave light and brought tears to my eyes. Last night as I slept, I dreamt, marvelous error, that it was God I had here inside my heart.
Valentine for Ernest Mann by Naomi Shihab Nye. You can't order a poem like you order a taco. Walk up to the counter and say, I'll take 2, and expect it to be handed back to you on a shiny plate. Still, I like your spirit. Anyone who says, here's my address, write me a poem, deserves something in reply. So I'll tell a secret instead. Poems hide. in the bottoms of our shoes. They are sleeping. They are the shadows drifting across our ceilings the moment before we wake up. What we have to do is live in a way that lets us find them. Once, I knew a man who gave his wife 2 skunks for a Valentine. He couldn't understand why she was crying. I thought they had such beautiful eyes. And he was serious. He was a serious man who lived in a serious way. Nothing was ugly just because the world said so. He really liked those skunks, so he reinvented them as Valentines, and they became beautiful, at least to him. And the poems that had been hiding in the eyes of skunks for centuries crawled out and curled up at his feet. Maybe if we reinvent whatever our lives give us, we find poems. Check your garage. The odd sock in your drawer, the person you almost like, but not quite, and let me know.
Poems are risky. They take down our protections to see what emerges, what steps forth. Like art, a poem identifies and offers us something missing from the lives we're living. A poem gives us permission to explore emotional terrain in a safe way. It's a place for both sustaining and destructive emotions.
Failing and Flying by Jack Gilbert. Everyone forgets that Icarus also flew. It's the same when love comes to an end or the marriage fails and people say they knew it was a mistake, that everybody said it would never work, that she was old enough to know better. But anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Like being there by that summer ocean on the other side of the island while love was fading out of her, the stars burning so extravagantly those nights that anyone could tell you they would never last. Every morning, she was asleep in my bed like a visitation, the gentleness in her like antelope standing in the dawn mist. Each afternoon, I watched her coming back through the hot, stony field after swimming, the sea light behind her and the huge sky on the other side of that. Listened to her while we ate lunch. How can they say the marriage failed? Like the people who came back from Provence when it was Provence and said it was pretty, but the food was greasy. I believe Icarus was not failing as he fell, but just coming to the end of his triumph.
You See, I Want a Lot by Rainer Rilke. You see, I want a lot. Perhaps I want everything. The darkness that comes with every infinite fall, and the shivering blaze of every step up. So many live on and want nothing, and are raised to the rank of prince by the slippery ease of their light judgments. But what you love to see are faces that do work and feel thirst. You have not grown old, and it is not too late to dive into your increasing depths where life calmly gives out its own secret.
And a poem can be a mystical experience, a path that connects us to our spirit. The poet Nat Pritz says, "I don't think of poetry or poems as a literary form, but as a discipline, awareness practice, to wake my spirit up. Contemplation, meditation, reverie, these all lead into the deep water. But poetry is the process that helps me clarify what I've seen, what I know, the luminous mysteries surrounding all of us."
Welcome Morning by Anne Sexton. There is joy in all, in the hair I brush each morning, in the cannon towel newly washed that I body with each morning, in the chapel of eggs I cook each morning, in the outcry from the kettle that heats my coffee each morning, in the spoon and the chair that cry, "Hello there, Anne," each morning, in the Godhead of the table that I set my silver plate cup upon each morning. All this is God, right here in my pea green house each morning, and I mean, though often forget to give thanks, to faint down by the kitchen table in a prayer of rejoicing, as the holy birds at the kitchen window peck into their marriage of seeds. So while I think of it, let me paint a thank you on my palm for this God, this laughter of the morning, lest it go unspoken. The joy that isn't shared, I've heard, dies young.
Materializing by Jean M. Olson. In what form did the Spirit appear to you today? The blossom of a flower, the tug of a child's hand, the silent twinkling stars, an old woman smiling at the bus stop, a lover's gentle hug, a presence so close to your soul you could almost touch it, words of truth formed unbidden in your mind, the holy, disguised in so many ways. May your senses open wide in recognition. And a poem can connect us with each other. The way an image or a phrase is worded touches a point in the perimeter that we have around ourselves in our solitude. And when that perimeter touches the perimeter around another, we experience this small but significant point of connection with someone else. We feel seen, and we see.
An Open Hand by Mark Napeau. The mind is not a storeroom with mirrors where we retreat to convince ourselves that we exist. The mind is a living room with windows and more than one chair, so friends can come and look out and discuss what they see. Not a fortress where we frisk and strip others of what they believe in order to share our secrets. More a porch with bird feeders and coffee or tea where before hello, you have to share a story. Pull the curtains, open the windows, brew the coffee, put out a sign, other views wanted.
When Someone Deeply Listens to You by John Fox. When someone deeply listens to you, it's like holding out a dented cup you've had since childhood and watching it fill up with cold, fresh water. When it balances on top of the brim, you are understood. When it overflows and touches your skin, you are loved. When someone deeply listens to you, the room where you stay starts a new life, and the place where you wrote your first poem begins to glow in your mind's eye. It is as if gold has been discovered. When someone deeply listens to you, your bare feet are on the earth, and a beloved land that seemed distant is now at home within you.
And finally, David White explains, does everyone know that David White lives on Whidbey Island? He's very close. David White explains that poetry leads us to ask the beautiful questions, the ones that remind us of something we have known but forgotten. They remind us to look at our horizon, at those things we hope for in our life. They remind us to lift our heads up from our work and from our daily life, to look toward what it is we really wanted to be doing with this life. Poems magnetize both the depth and the possible in life.
Getting There by You take a final step and look, suddenly you're there. You've arrived at the one place all your drudgery was aimed for. This common ground where you stretch out, pressing your cheek to sandstone. What did you want to be? You'll remember soon. You feel like tinder under a burning glass, a luminous point of change. The sky is pulsing against the cracked horizon, holding it firm till the arrival of stars in time with your heartbeats. Like wind etching rock, you've made a lasting impression on the self you were by having come all this way through all this welter under your own power, though your traces on a map would make an unpromising, meandering lifeline. What have you learned so far? You'll find out later, telling it haltingly like a dream, that lost traveler's dream under the last bill, where through the night you'll take your time out of mind to unburden yourself of elements along elementary paths by the breaking of morning. You've earned this worn down, hard, incredible sight called here and now. Now, what you make of it means everything, means starting over. The life in your hands is neither here nor there, but getting there. So you're standing again and breathing, beginning another journey without regret, forever being your own unpeaceable kingdom, the end of endings.
Summons by David Francis. Keep me from going to sleep too soon. Or, if I go to sleep too soon, come wake me up. Come any hour of night. Come whistling up the road. Stop on the porch, bang on the door, make me get out of bed, and come and let you in and light a light. Tell me that the northern lights are on, and make me look. Or tell me clouds are doing something to the moon they never did before, and show me. See that I see. Talk to me till I'm half as wide awake as you and start to dress wondering why I ever went to bed at all. Tell me the walking is superb. Not only tell me, but persuade me. You know I'm not too hard persuaded.
Find those poems that wake you up. Find those poems that create the connection inside yourself that's so hard to locate. Find those poems that make you realize You are not alone in your experience of life. Passion or yearning, or write those poems. Explore this unexplained way of knowing. These are the poems you want to read over again. Don't analyze them. Don't deconstruct them to find meaning. Sit with them. Find those poems that communicate with the deepest parts of your being and welcome them in. I'd now like to invite Bob Dedea to perform his song, Lonely Traveler.
Hello. This was a song that I wrote in 1991. A friend of mine had written a show called Uncut in iambic pentameter and rhymed couplets. and we added some music to it. The original first verse of this song was, if I were a bird, I'd be an albatross. I'd hang upon your neck like a golden cross. I don't remember the rest of it, probably a good thing. A little too inspired by Coleridge, but I adjusted it after the show and rewrote the first verse. It's called Lonely Traveler. If I were a tree, a willow I would be. I'd wipe away the tears that make it hard to see, to keep you from the storm and wind that turns the leaves. I'd be a willow tree. If I were a song, I'd be a lullaby. I'd take away the fears when the dark is nigh. I'd sing of moonbeams scattering throughout the sky, and then I'd cry for you. Lonely traveler, always playing truth or dare, pondering what to keep and what to share. Lonely traveler, learning like a child to care. If I were a time, I'd be the here and now. I'd hide away the years if time would allow, and then I'd offer comfort with a solemn vow. If I could reach you now. Lonely traveler, always playing truth or dare, pondering what to keep and what to share. Lonely traveler, learning like a child to care, learning like a child to care.
Thank you, Bob. A kind word or a thoughtful act, like a pebble dropped in water, sends ripples out into the world. Should you wish to make a promise or let go of one, remember someone, release a little bit of pain, forgive yourself or someone else, or otherwise mark some important event or occasion, please step forward and quietly send your thoughts outward as you drop a pebble into the water, mingling the ripples of your intention with the ripples of other people in our community. During this quiet time, and as the music plays, Please feel free to come forward and place a pebble in the water. Approach together from both aisles, and once you're finished, return to your seats by the center aisle. I will begin by dropping one pebble for all those whom we wish were here with us today, and another for those who wish they were here. May it be so. If you are new to our congregation, you will notice that we do not take up a collection for the operations of the congregation. We chose many years ago to support our congregation by making generous pledges of financial support that we pay month by month and year by year. Instead, our Sunday offering is dedicated to going out into the world to support organizations doing good works that align with or extend the mission of our congregation, gathering together, nurturing the Spirit, living our vision of a just and sustainable world. The July cause of the month is Ballet Folklorico Xochiquetzal. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering children through the arts, specifically by celebrating and preserving the rich traditions of folkloric dance. They provide costumes, volunteer instructions, and practice space, ensuring equitable access to arts education. Performances take place both within school and the community, promoting cultural awareness. And BFX addresses disparities in access to arts programs and creates an inclusive environment. Thank you to Sarah for bringing this organization to our attention. You can donate by go to the EUC website and click on Donate. For those of you here, there are baskets actually out in the narthex through the doors underneath the screen that's on the wall in between the doors just behind this hall. And as always, thank you for your generous donations. So, I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you are comfortable to join in singing hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us. The words will be projected on the screen.
Before I go any further, I want to give special thanks to Rob and to Rachel for helping me with the service today. It's a lot of reading and practicing, and I really am very appreciative of your voices. Friends, if you're here in Chapman Hall this morning, you're welcome to gather with us and socialize after the service. Please just go out the double doors in the back of the room and grab a hot beverage and join us for coffee hour. We'll be here out in the narthex where you can get your hot drink, and out on the playground, the kids will be playing, and you could be playing with them. We're very grateful for everyone who made this service possible this morning. Thank you. Our closing words are this poem, Notice, by Steve Coet. This evening, the sturdy Levi's I wore every day for over a year, which seemed to the end and which seemed to the end in perfect condition, suddenly tore. How or why, I don't know, but there it was, a big rip in the crotch. A month ago, my friend Nick walked off a racquetball court, showered, got into his street clothes, home, collapsed, and died. Take heed, ye who hear this, and drop to your knees now and again, like the poet Christopher Smart, and kiss the earth, and be joyful, and make much of your time, and be kindly to everyone, even those who do not deserve it. For although you may not believe it will happen, you too will one day be gone. I, whose Levi's ripped at the crotch for no reason, assure you that such is the case. Pass it on. Please join me in the words printed on the screen as we release our flame of our burning chalice. We release this flame, but not the light of truth. We release this flame, but not the warmth of this community. We release this flame, but not the fire of our commitment. These we will carry in hearts until we meet again. The service begins as our service ends. Go in peace. Practice love. Amen.